And we're back for Playday 3. There's only 4 games today and they're all from the lower bracket, so let's just get straight into the games. The first game was BDS vs TSM, which was played out initially on Oregon, and it was fairly close to begin with. TSM managed to secure a lot of the opening kills on the defences and were incredibly proactive but not necessarily aggressive. They were just holding the map control and really contesting BDS and not allowing them to get any foothold in the map. And of course, Bolo on the Vector getting 9 kills in the first half was just insane. The first half went 4-2 in favour of TSM, and the rounds really weren't that close, with 3 flawless rounds towards the end of the half. Once BDS got onto defence, they managed to win 2 rounds in a row, and finally Shaiko found 3 kills, bringing him to a total of 4. The score was 4-4, and TSM chose to have a tactical timeout, and I don't know what Pojo said to TSM, but whatever it was, it worked, as TSM win the following 3 rounds in a row and win the map outright, with the help of a few Bolo 3 and 4Ks back to back, but, Bolo does Bolo things, and he finishes the map 18-6, and BDS didn't really have any standout performances apart from a few individual plays on a couple rounds, but nothing special. The next map was Coastline, and BDS started out on attack, and for round 1 they played it very aggressively, but it didn't pay off, and TSM managed to quickly collapse on BDS, leaving Playday in an unclutchable 1v3. But BDS managed to pull themselves together for the following rounds and won 3 in a row, forcing TSM to use their tactical timeout early. But it wasn't enough, and BDS win the following 2 rounds with the half going 5-1 in BDS's favour. And they didn't have any intention of slowing down either, and actually win the map 7-1 after winning 7 rounds in a row. Shaiko really found himself on the side of BDS, going 11-3 this map, and no one on TSM really found much of an impact, sort of a reverse of the first map. With the Brazilians really looking strong this tournament, it might take a 7-1 scoreline to strike some fear into them. The decider was on Chalet, with BDS coming in for a very aggressive round 1 again, but TSM managed to take apart the attack, and the next 4 rounds were fairly close, but BDS's executes were just very lackluster, and they just couldn't click 5 heads or get the bomb down within the 3 minutes that the round allowed. BDS managed to finally secure a round at the end of the half, leaving it 5-1 in TSM's favour. Once BDS switched on to the defence, the script didn't really change a whole lot as they lose another close round with the Chiefs shouting "Shaiko, what are you doing?" as the French superstar fails to clutch, and the final round ends with Merc making his way to all chat for a GN as BDS's dream of a win is put to bed. TSM really took the fight to BDS and are fairly confident in this matchup. I think it's interesting that BDS never used a timeout even when they were down on 2 separate maps on 2 separate occasions. The second match was Empire vs Team Liquid, and the winner of this game will go on to play FaZe in match 4 of today, and the loser will be heading home. The first map was Cafe, and Empire managed to get an early lead, but Liquid managed to build some momentum and win 4 rounds in a row, with Paolu mostly leading the team in terms of kills. The half ended up going 4-2 in favour of Liquid, and Liquid find themselves on match point after just 2 defences. Empire managed to find a couple more rounds off the back of Always in Scyther, but an ESC 3K finishes off the map for Liquid 7-4. The second map was on Oregon, and Liquid managed to bring the momentum they built from winning their last map and won 5 rounds in a row. And I know that Oregon's a defender-sided map, but a 5-1 split is very hard for Empire to come back from. Once the sides switched, Empire managed to find 2 more rounds, but the hill for the uphill battle was just far too steep, and Empire will fall, and Liquid advance to go on to fight FaZe later today. I don't like to always talk about the star players on these teams and say if that star player doesn't perform, the teams suck, because there's 5 players on every team. But Joystick really created openings in the group stage of this tournament, and his lackluster performance in the playoffs has really cost Team Empire in my opinion. Liquid, for example, have the ability for all 5 players to go massive, and maybe less Sexacake, but I remember when Zig IGL'd for this team, Sexacake had huge fragging potential too, so even he can step up. Empire unfortunately don't have that luxury, well, to the same extent anyways. Obviously Joystick and Dan are normally the top fraggers, but Scyther, Shepard and Always just don't give the same fragging capability as a team like Liquid, which is fine, but when your fragger isn't performing, it's just quite hard to win out a game like this, so yeah, unfortunately Empire will fall, and that is EU's last hope, so now it's just down to NA and LATAM to see who can lift the hammer. The penultimate game of the day was Oxygen vs TSM. The first map was Cafe, and an even 3-3 split on both the halves sends the teams into overtime, which every defence managed to win, and TSM ultimately take the map in round 15, 8-7. There wasn't any really stand-up performances or any lackluster players on either of these teams for this map, so that's pretty good to see. The second map was on Clubhouse, and it was another close game going 7-5 in TSM's favour. I think the 2-0 loss for Oxygen doesn't do justice to how close this game really was, and I think these teams played incredibly well, with a few small things on OXG's executes costing them, which is something I remember saying a few days ago when they dropped down as the lower bracket. Oxygen definitely has potential, and I think the two young players of Yoga and Kino have a bright future ahead of them. I really hope this roster sits together for a while and work through their problems together. The experience of Laxay, Foxing and Vertical could really benefit the two younger members, and I think these guys definitely deserve to have at least a 5th/6th place finish, but I would have loved to see them go further. The final game of the day to play TSM tomorrow is between FaZe Clan and Team Liquid. The first map was on Cafe, and Paolo started things off with an ace to really set the tone for this map. The whole map was filled with a lot of individually fueled rounds from both sides, but more so Liquid as they win the map 7-4. The next map started off in FaZe Clan's favour as they win the halves at 4-2, but Liquid managed to match that and bring the whole game into overtime. FaZe get the attack for overtime, and in an attack-sided map they win on round 15 8-7. The decider was played out on Coastline, and Liquid win this map very convincingly with a 7-3 scoreline. I think Liquid is the better team out of these two, and their regional performances support that. Unfortunately, FaZe ended their tournament here, but I think this roster is looking good. A 5th to 6th place finish is very promising for a newish roster, and I think the addition of Astro has really benefited this team. And I think with a little bit more polish to this team, they could be a real contender to be the top team in LATAM. But anyway, that's all. I'll see you all tomorrow for the upper and lower bracket finals.